Shahmaran is one of the most loved stories in the Middle East. She is a creature from very old tales. She is half woman and half snake. Her top half looks like a beautiful woman. Her bottom half is a long snake body. She wears a crown on her head. She has jewelry around her neck. She is the queen of all snakes. The name Shahmaran comes from two Persian words. Shah means king. Maran means snakes. So Shahmaran means king of snakes. This is odd because Shahmaran is a woman. But in old times, the word king was used for any ruler. So Shahmaran is really the queen of snakes. People have told this story for thousands of years. It started in Persia, that is modern-day Iran. Then it spread to Turkey. It spread to Kurdistan. It spread to Iraq. It spread all over the Middle East. Each place changed the story a little bit, but the main parts stay the same. This story is about love. It is about trust. It is about betrayal. It is about wisdom. It is about healing. It teaches us many things. It shows us what happens when we break our promises. It shows us that knowledge is powerful. It shows us that nature and humans are connected. Many scholars have studied this story. They found it in old books. The story appears in the famous 1001 Nights. This is also called the Arabian Nights. In that book, she is called Yamlika, the queen of the serpents. Scholars Wolfram, Eberhard, and Partev Naili Borataf made a list of Turkish folk tales. They put Shahmaran as tale type T, TV 57. They found 7 different versions of the story. Long ago, there was a world under the ground. It was 7 levels below where we walk. This was not a dark cave. It was a beautiful place. There was a garden there. The garden had trees. It had flowers. It had pools of clear water. It was more beautiful than any garden on earth. In this garden lived thousands of snakes. These snakes were not like the snakes we know. They were wise. They were kind. They were peaceful. They lived together in harmony. They did not fight. They did not hurt each other. They called themselves the Maran. The snakes were white or cream-colored. They shone like pearls. They were beautiful creatures. They had lived in this garden for a very long time. They were happy there. They did not need anything from the world above. The ruler of these snakes was Shahmaran. She sat on a golden throne. Her throne was near a beautiful pond. From her throne, she could see her whole kingdom. All the snakes loved her. They would do anything for her. Shahmaran was very wise. She knew about plants and herbs. She knew which plants could heal. She knew which plants were poison. She knew the secrets of medicine. She knew the secrets of the earth. She had lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. Some say she never aged at all. The underground world was hidden from humans. Humans did not know it existed. The snakes wanted to stay hidden. They were afraid of humans. They knew that humans often hurt snakes. They knew that humans could not be trusted. So they stayed in their secret garden. Shahmaran protected her people. She made sure no human ever found their home. She believed that if humans found them, bad things would happen. She was right to be careful. But one day, everything changed. The young man in this story has many names. Different versions call him different things. Some call him Jamasp, some call him Kamasep, some call him Kamsap, some call him Semshab, some call him Tamasbi. In the Arabian Nights, he is called Haseb. We will call him Jamasbi in this telling. Jamasp was a poor young man. He came from a family with no money. His father was dead. His mother had to work hard to feed them. They lived in a small house. They had very little. Some versions say Jamasp lived in Mardin. Mardin is an old city in Turkey. It has been there since Roman times. Other versions say he lived near Tarsus. Tarsus is another old city in Turkey. It is near the Mediterranean Sea. Jamasp worked as a woodcutter. He would go to the forest. He would cut wood. He would sell the wood for money. This is how he helped his mother. This is how they survived. It was hard work, but Jamasp was a good son. Jamasp had friends who were also woodcutters. They would go to the forest together. They would help each other. Or so Jamasp thought. These friends would later betray him, but he did not know that yet. In the Arabian Nights version, the young man is Haseb. He is the son of a wise man named Daniel. Daniel was a Greek philosopher. Before he died, Daniel left 5 pages from a book. He told his wife to give them to their son when he grew up. He said these pages would make their son wise. Daniel predicted that Haseb would face great danger. But he also predicted that Haseb would become very wise. One day, Jamasp and his friends were in the forest. They were looking for wood to cut. Then they found something strange. They found a cave, or maybe it was a well. Different versions tell it different ways. Inside this cave was honey. Lots and lots of honey. Wild bees had made their home there. They had made so much honey. The honey was golden and sweet. The men were excited. Honey was valuable. They could sell it for good money. But the honey was deep inside the cave. Someone had to go down to get it. The cave was dark and deep. The other men were scared. They did not want to go down. So they chose Jamasp to go. They tied a rope around Jamasp. They lowered him into the cave. Jamasp filled containers with honey. He passed them up to his friends. His friends pulled the honey out of the cave. They did this again and again. Finally, all the honey was out. Jamasp called up to his friends. He asked them to pull him out, but they did not answer. He called again, still no answer. He looked up. His friends were gone. His friends had betrayed him. They took all the honey. They left Jamasp in the cave. They wanted to keep all the money for themselves. They did not care about Jamasp. They left him to die alone in the dark. Jamasp was scared. He was alone. He was trapped. He thought he would die in that cave. He sat in the darkness and cried. He prayed for help. He did not know what to do. After some time, Jamasp saw something. There was a crack in the wall. A tiny bit of light came through. He went closer to look. The crack was small, but maybe he could make it bigger. Jamasp had a knife in his pocket. He took out the knife. He started to scratch at the crack. Little by little, the crack got bigger. He worked for a long time. His hands hurt. His back hurt. But he did not stop. Finally, the hole was big enough. Jamasp could squeeze through. He pushed his body through the hole. He did not know where it led, but anywhere was better than dying in that dark cave. On the other side, Jamasp could not believe his eyes. He found himself in a beautiful garden. It was the most amazing place he had ever seen. There were trees with golden leaves. There were flowers in every color. There were pools of crystal clear water. But Jamasp was very tired. He had worked so hard. He had been so scared. He lay down on the soft grass. He closed his eyes. He fell into a deep sleep. When he woke up, he got the shock of his life. He was surrounded by snakes. Thousands of snakes were all around him. They were looking at him. They were watching him. Jamasp was terrified. He closed his eyes again. He thought the snakes would kill him. He waited for the bite, but it never came. Instead, he heard a voice. It was a woman's voice. It was soft and kind. The voice said to not be afraid. It said to open his eyes. Jamasp slowly opened his eyes. He looked around. That is when he saw her. That is when he saw Shahmaran for the first time. She was sitting on a throne by a pond. She was the most beautiful woman Jamasp had ever seen. Her face was kind. Her eyes were wise. Her hair was long and dark. She wore a crown of gold. Around her neck were precious jewels. But below her waist, she was not human. Her body became that of a snake. Her scales shimmered in the light. She was half woman and half snake. She was magical. She was amazing. Shahmaran smiled at Jamasp. She told him not to be afraid. She said the snakes would not hurt him. She invited him to come closer. She invited him to sit with her. Jamasp was still scared, but something about her made him feel safe. He walked toward her throne. He sat down near her. The snakes around them stayed calm. They did not hiss. They did not threaten him. Shahmaran offered him food. She gave him water to drink. Jamasp was very hungry. He ate and drank gratefully. The food was delicious. It was unlike anything he had tasted before. Then Shahmaran began to talk. She told Jamasp about her world. She told him about the snakes. She told him they were peaceful creatures. She told him they had lived here for ages. She told him about the history of the world. Jamasp listened with wonder. Shahmaran knew so many things. She knew about plants that could heal. She knew about the stars in the sky. She knew about things that happened long ago. Her wisdom was endless. Days passed, then weeks, then months. Jamasp stayed in the underground garden. He had nowhere else to go. His friends had left him to die. He had no way to get back to the surface. But Jamasp did not mind. He loved being with Shahmaran. They talked for hours every day. She taught him about herbs and medicine. She taught him which plants could cure sickness. She taught him the secrets she knew. Jamasp was amazed by her kindness. She took care of him. She made sure he had food. She made sure he was comfortable. She treated him like he was special. No one had ever treated him this way. Slowly, Jamasp fell in love with Shahmaran, and Shahmaran fell in love with him too. It was a strange love. She was not human, but their hearts connected. They understood each other. They cared for each other deeply. Shahmaran had never loved a human before. She had always been careful around humans. She knew they could be dangerous. But Jamasp was different. He was gentle. He was kind. He listened to her stories. He respected her wisdom. Years passed. Jamasp was happy in the underground world. He learned so much from Shahmaran. His mind grew sharp. He gained knowledge that no other human had. He was at peace in the beautiful garden. The snakes accepted him too. At first they watched him with caution, but over time they saw he was good. They saw he loved their queen. They stopped being afraid of him. They let him live among them in peace. But as happy as Jamasp was, something bothered him. He missed his mother. He missed his home. He missed the world above. He wondered if his mother was okay. He wondered if she thought he was dead. The more time passed, the more he missed home. He tried to hide his feelings. He did not want to hurt Shahmaran, but she was wise. She could see the sadness in his eyes. She knew something was wrong. One day Shahmaran asked him what was wrong. Jamasp could not lie to her. He told her the truth. He said he missed his family. He said he wanted to see his mother again. He asked if he could go back to the surface. Shahmaran was sad to hear this. She did not want him to leave. She loved him. She would miss him terribly, but she loved him too much to keep him prisoner. True love means wanting the other person to be happy. Shahmaran agreed to let Jamasp go, but she had one condition. He must promise to keep her secret. He must never tell anyone about the underground world. He must never tell anyone about her. If humans learned where she lived, they would come and kill her. Jamasp promised. He swore he would never tell anyone. He loved Shahmaran. He would never do anything to hurt her. He would keep her secret forever. But Shahmaran had another warning. She told Jamasp something important. Because he had lived with the snakes for so long, he had changed. Some of their nature had rubbed off on him. If his skin touched water in front of others, something would happen. His skin would show scales like a snake. Shahmaran warned Jamasp to avoid public baths. In those days, people bathed together in public bathhouses. If Jamasp went to a bathhouse, people would see his scales. They would know his secret. So he must never go to a public bath. Jamasp understood. He promised to be careful. He said goodbye to Shahmaran. It was a sad moment. They did not know if they would ever see each other again. They held each other close. Then Jamaspi left. Shahmaran showed Jamaspi the way back to the surface. He climbed up through tunnels. He emerged into the sunlight. It had been many years since he had seen the sun. The light hurt his eyes at first. Jamaspi went home. He found his mother. She was overjoyed to see him. She had thought he was dead. She had mourned for him. She had cried for years. Now here he was, alive and well. His mother asked where he had been. Jamasp kept his promise. He did not tell her about Shahmaran. He made up a story. He said he had been lost. He said he had wandered in the wilderness. He said he finally found his way home. Jamasp kept Shahmaran's secret for years. He never went to public bathhouses. He bathed alone at home. He was very careful. No one ever saw his skin turn to scales. No one knew his secret. Jamasp tried to live a normal life. He went back to work. He helped his mother. He made friends. But he always remembered Shahmaran. He always thought about her. He still loved her. A part of his heart stayed in that underground garden. Years went by peacefully. Jamasp thought he would keep the secret forever. He thought no one would ever find out. He thought Shahmaran was safe. But fate had other plans. In the city of Tarsus, there was a king, or in some versions, it was a sultan. This king was powerful. He ruled over many people. He had great wealth. He had everything a man could want. But he was not happy, because the king was very sick. The king had a terrible illness. No doctor could cure him. No medicine helped. He grew weaker every day. He was dying. Everyone in the kingdom was worried. What would happen when the king died? The king had a vizier. The vizier was his most trusted advisor. But the vizier was not a good man. He was greedy. He was cruel. He cared only about power. He wanted to stay powerful even after the king died. The vizier searched for a cure. He asked doctors. He asked wise men. He asked magicians. Finally, someone told him about Shahmaran. They said Shahmaran was a magical creature. They said her flesh could cure any illness. The vizier became excited. If he could find Shahmaran, he could cure the king. But more importantly, he could gain power. He could have the king's favor. He might even gain some of the magic for himself. But how could the vizier find Shahmaran? No one knew where she lived. Her kingdom was hidden underground. No human had ever found it. Or so the vizier thought. Then the vizier learned something else. He learned that there might be someone who knew. He learned that if a person lived with snakes, their skin would change. When water touched their skin, scales would appear. This person would know where Shahmaran lived. The vizier went to the king. He told the king about Shahmaran. He told the king about the cure. He told the king about the person with scales. The king ordered a search immediately. The king made a terrible order. He ordered all men to go to the bathhouse. Soldiers would watch them bathe. Soldiers would look for the person with scales. Everyone had to go. No one could refuse. Jamasp heard about the order. He was terrified. He knew what would happen if he went to the bathhouse. His secret would be revealed. They would make him tell them about Shahmaran. He could not let that happen. Jamasp tried to hide. He stayed in his house. He did not go outside. He hoped the soldiers would not find him. He hoped they would give up. But they did not give up. The soldiers went door to door. They checked every house. They found every man. When they came to Jamasp's house, they found him hiding. They dragged him out. They took him to the bathhouse. Jamasp begged them to let him go. He said he was not the one they were looking for, but the soldiers did not listen. They threw him into the water, and just as Shahmaran had warned, his skin changed. Scales appeared all over his body. The soldiers grabbed him. They tied him up. They brought him before the king and the vizier. The vizier smiled. He had found what he was looking for. Now he would get the cure for the king. The king demanded to know where Shahmaran was. Jamasp refused to tell. He remembered his promise. He remembered his love for her. He would not betray her. He stayed silent. The vizier ordered the soldiers to hurt Jamasp. They beat him. They tortured him. They did terrible things. The pain was unbearable. Jamasp screamed. But still he did not talk. Days passed. The torture continued. Jamasp grew weak. His body was broken. His spirit was fading. He thought he would die before he told the secret. He almost welcomed death. But then the vizier threatened his mother. He said they would hurt her too. He said they would kill her if Jamasp did not talk. Jamasp could handle his own pain, but he could not let them hurt his mother. Jamasp's heart broke. He had to choose. He could keep his promise to Shahmaran and watch his mother die, or he could save his mother and betray his love. It was an impossible choice. In the end, Jamasp told them. He told them where the cave was. He told them how to find the underground garden. He told them everything. As the words left his mouth, tears ran down his face. He had broken his promise. He had betrayed Shahmaran. The soldiers went to the cave. They found the hidden passage. They went into the underground world. They found the beautiful garden. They found the thousands of snakes. They found Shahmaran. The snakes tried to protect their queen, but they were no match for soldiers with swords. Many snakes were killed. The garden that had been peaceful for so long became a place of blood and death. Shahmaran could have fought. She had powers. She had magic. She could have killed the soldiers, but she did not. She let them take her. Some say she knew this would happen. Some say she accepted her fate. The soldiers brought Shahmaran to the surface. They brought her to the city. They brought her to a bathhouse. This bathhouse would later be called Shahmaran Hammam. It still exists today in Tarsus, Turkey. Jamasp was there. He had been forced to come. He had to watch. When Shahmaran saw him, she looked at him with sad eyes. But there was no anger in her face. She did not hate him. She understood Shahmaran spoke to Jamasp one last time. She said she knew he had no choice. She said she forgave him. She said she still loved him. Even at the end, she was kind. Even facing death, she thought of him. Shahmaran knew she would die, but she also knew something else. Her body had special powers. Different parts of her body did different things. She explained this to Jamasp. She said they should cook her body. She said her flesh should go to the king. Her flesh would heal him. He would live. This was true. Her body really could cure his illness. But she also gave instructions about the water from cooking. The first water, she said, was poison. Anyone who drank the first water would die. She told Jamasp to make sure the vizier drank the first water. The second water, she said, had wisdom. It contained all her knowledge. It contained all her power. Whoever drank the second water would become very wise. She told Jamasp to drink the second water himself. Some versions say there was a third water, too. The third water had even more special properties. But all versions agree on one thing. The first water was deadly. The second water gave wisdom. In another version of the story, Shahmaran said something different. She said whoever ate her head would die, but whoever ate her tail would gain wisdom. Either way, her message was clear. She was giving Jamasp a gift, and she was punishing the evil vizier. Shahmaran could have lied. She could have told Jamasp to drink the poison. He had betrayed her, after all. She could have gotten revenge, but she did not. She loved him too much. She wanted him to live. She wanted him to have her wisdom. The soldiers killed Shahmaran. They cut her body into pieces. They put the pieces in a pot of water. They boiled her over a fire. The beautiful queen of snakes was gone. The king ate her flesh. Just as she had said, it cured him. His sickness went away. He became healthy again. He was grateful. He thought the cure had worked perfectly. The vizier was greedy. He wanted power. He wanted wisdom. He wanted everything. He pushed forward to drink from the pot first. He drank the first water before anyone could stop him. Just as Shahmaran had said, the first water was poison. The vizier's face turned pale. He clutched his chest. He fell to the ground. He died right there, in front of everyone. His greed had killed him. Jamasp remembered Shahmaran's instructions. He drank the second water. It tasted strange. It felt warm going down. Then something amazing happened. His mind expanded. Suddenly he knew things he never knew before. He understood herbs and plants. He knew how to cure diseases. He knew the secrets of medicine. All of Shahmaran's wisdom flowed into him. He had become one of the wisest people in the world. In Turkish folklore, some say that Jamasp became Lokman Hakim. Lokman Hakim is a legendary healer. His name comes from Lokman, a wise man mentioned in the Quran. The name Lokman means wise or knowledgeable in Arabic. Lokman Hakim is famous for his healing powers. He could cure any disease. He knew about every plant and herb. He could talk to flowers and plants. He understood nature in a way no one else did. Where did Lokman Hekim get this knowledge? According to the legend, from Shahmaran. She gave him her wisdom when she died. Her sacrifice made him the greatest healer in history. Today in Turkey, many stores that sell herbal medicine are named after Lokman Hekim. You can find Lokman Hekim shops in many cities. They sell plants and natural remedies. The name is connected to healing and wisdom. Some people also connect Shahmaran to the medical symbol. The medical symbol shows snakes wrapped around a staff. This symbol comes from Greek mythology. It is the staff of Asclepius, the god of healing. Some believe this snake symbol connects to Shahmaran's legend. Whether or not this is true, the connection between snakes and healing is very old. Ancient people believed snakes were immortal. They saw snakes shed their skin and become young again. They thought snakes held the secret to life and death. The story of Shahmaran has many lessons. Different people see different meanings. Here are some of the main themes. First, the story is about trust and betrayal. Shahmaran trusted Jamasp. She let him into her world. She loved him. She shared her secrets, and he broke that trust. He told her enemies where to find her. This led to her death. But the story also shows forgiveness. Shahmaran did not hate Jamasp. She understood he was forced to betray her. She forgave him. She even helped him one last time. True love can forgive even betrayal. Second, the story is about wisdom and knowledge. Shahmaran was very wise. She knew things no human knew. When she died, she passed this knowledge to Jamasp. Knowledge is powerful. It lives on even after we die. Third, the story is about nature and humans. Shahmaran represents nature. She lives underground. She rules the snakes. She knows about plants. Humans often hurt nature. They take what they want. They do not think about the damage they cause. The story warns us to respect nature. Fourth, the story is about sacrifice. Shahmaran sacrificed herself. She could have fought back. She could have escaped. But she accepted her fate. Her sacrifice helped cure the king. Her sacrifice gave wisdom to Jamasp. Sometimes the greatest act of love is giving up yourself for others. Fifth, the story is about good and evil. The vizier was evil. He was greedy. He wanted power. In the end, his evil killed him. Jamasp was not perfect. He made mistakes, but his heart was good. In the end, he was rewarded with wisdom. There are real places in Turkey connected to the Shahmaran legend. These places keep the story alive today. The first place is Tarsus. Tarsus is a city in southern Turkey. It is near the Mediterranean Sea. Many people believe Shahmaran lived near Tarsus. The story is very popular there. You can see images of Shahmaran everywhere in Tarsus. In Tarsus, there is a bathhouse called Shahmaran Hammam. This is where the legend says Shahmaran was killed. The bathhouse is very old. It has been there for hundreds of years. People still visit it today. There is also a statue of Shahmaran in Tarsus. The second place is Yelankali. Yelankali means snake castle in Turkish. It is a castle in Adana province. It was built in the 12th or 13th century. The Armenians built it during the kingdom of Local people say Yelankali was the home of Shahmaran. The castle sits on top of a hill. It overlooks the Sayon River. It is one of the best preserved medieval castles in the region. Thousands of people visit it every year. Why is it called Snake Castle? There are several stories. Some say a snake charmer lived there. Some say many snakes lived in the ruins. But the most popular story is that Shahmaran herself lived there. The castle was restored in 2014 and is now open to visitors. The third place is Mardin. Mardin is a city in southeastern Turkey. It has a large Kurdish and Arab population. The story of Shahmaran is very important there. The city is known for its beautiful craftwork showing Shahmaran. In Mardin, you can see Shahmaran on copper plates, silver jewelry, and embroidered cloths. Local artists have made pictures of Shahmaran for many generations. The craft is passed down from parent to child. You can visit the Mardin Museum to learn more about these traditions. Shahmaran is very important in Turkish art. Her image appears everywhere. She is on walls, fabrics, jewelry, and more. People believe her image brings good luck. They hang her picture in their homes for protection. One famous art form is called kamalti. This is glass painting. Artists paint the image of Shahmaran on the back of glass. The colors are bright and beautiful. These paintings have been made for hundreds of years. Young girls in Kurdish villages make Shahmaran pictures. They do this as they prepare to get married. The pictures show Shahmaran with flowers and decorations. These pictures symbolize good fortune. They hope Shahmaran will bless their marriages. In traditional kilams and rugs, Shahmaran often appears. Kilams are flat woven rugs. They are important in Turkish culture. Having Shahmaran on a kilam is believed to protect the home. Modern artists also use Shahmaran. You can see her in street art and murals. You can see her in tattoo designs. You can see her in music and poetry. She represents many things: wisdom, strength, femininity, and the connection between humans and nature. The image of Shahmaran is considered a national treasure in Turkey. It is part of the country's cultural heritage. Museums display old Shahmaran artwork. Schools teach children about the legend. The Shahmaran story also appears in the famous book 1001 Nights. This book is also called the Arabian Nights. It is a collection of stories from the Middle East and South Asia. In the Arabian Nights, the story is called the Queen of the Serpents. The young man is called Hasib Karim Aldin. The Serpent Queen is called Yamalika. but the main story is very similar. Hasib is the son of a wise Greek philosopher named Daniel. Before Daniel died, he left his son 5 pages from a special book. He said these pages would make Hasib wise someday. Hasib became a woodcutter. One day, he found a cistern full of honey with his friends. His friends betrayed him and left him in the cistern. He found a passage and ended up in the kingdom of serpents. Yamlika was the queen of serpents. She had a human face and the body of a snake. She was wise and beautiful. She told Hasib many stories. They spent time together. Eventually, she let him go back to the surface, but she warned him not to enter a bathhouse. She said if he did, it would lead to her death. Of course, just as she predicted, Hasib eventually entered a bathhouse. This led to the events that caused her death. An evil vizier wanted the serpent queen's flesh. He believed it would give him power. The serpent queen told Hasib to divide her body and put the broth into 3 bottles. The vizier drank from the first bottle and died. Hasib drank from the second and gained great wisdom. Scholars Ulrich, Marzolf, and Richard van Leeuwen have studied this story. They say the name Hasib is an Arabic version of the Persian name Jamasp. This shows how the story traveled from Persia to Arab lands and changed along the way. Half-human, half-snake creatures appear in many cultures. Shahmaran has cousins all over the world. Here are some similar figures from other traditions. In Hindu and Buddhist mythology, there are beings called Nagas. Nagas are half human and half snake, just like Shahmaran. They often live underground or underwater. They are associated with water and fertility. Some Nagas are wise and helpful to humans. In Greek mythology, there was Medusa. Medusa had snakes for hair. She was very different from Shahmaran. Medusa was scary and dangerous. Anyone who looked at her turned to stone. But both figures show the power of snake women in ancient stories. In Chinese mythology, there is a story called The Legend of the White Snake. A white snake becomes a woman and falls in love with a human man. This story is very popular in China. It has been made into operas, movies, and television shows. In African folklore, Mummy Wata is a water spirit. She is often shown as a woman with a snake. She is connected to fertility and healing. People worship her in West Africa, Central Africa, and the Caribbean. Why do so many cultures have stories about snake women? Snakes are found almost everywhere. Ancient people watched snakes shed their skin. They thought snakes could live forever. They connected snakes with death and rebirth, wisdom and danger. The snake symbol appears in medicine too. The symbol of medicine is a snake wrapped around a staff. This comes from Asclepius, the Greek god of healing. The connection between snakes and healing is very old. Shahmaran fits into this tradition. To understand Shahmaran, we need to understand what snakes meant to ancient people. Snakes were very important symbols in ancient times. Ancient Mesopotamians believed snakes were immortal. They saw snakes shed their skin. The snake would crawl out of its old skin looking young and fresh. Ancient people thought this meant snakes could live forever. They could make themselves young again. This idea is in the Epic of Gilgamesh. This is one of the oldest stories in the world. It comes from ancient Mesopotamia. In the story, Gilgamesh finds a plant that gives eternal life, but a snake steals it and eats it. The snake becomes immortal instead of Gilgamesh. The Sumerians worshipped a snake god named Ningshida. He was a god of healing and magic. Images of Ningshida showed two snakes wrapped around a staff. This image is from around 4000 to 3000 BCE. It looks very much like the medical symbol we use today. In Egypt, the pharaohs wore a cobra on their crown. This cobra was called the uraeus. It represented protection and royal power. The goddess Wadjet was shown as a cobra. She protected the kings of Egypt. In the Bible, there is a story about Moses and a bronze snake. God told Moses to make a bronze snake and put it on a pole. Anyone who was bitten by a snake could look at this bronze snake and be healed. This connects snakes to healing. The Kurds have always respected snakes. They see snakes as symbols of luck and strength. This is why Shahmaran is so important in Kurdish culture. Her image protects homes and brings good fortune. The story of Shahmaran is still important today. People still tell the story. Artists still make her image. And now she has come to movies and television. In 2023, Netflix made a television series called Shahmaran. The series stars Serene Sarakaya and Burok Deniz. It is set in modern times. It imagines what would happen if the Shahmaran legend was real today. The series was directed by Yuma Turage and written by Panor Bulut. It combines the ancient legend with modern storytelling. The show was popular in Turkey and around the world. It introduced Shahmaran to a new generation. In the Netflix series, Shahmaran's sister Lilith plays an important role. In this version, Lilith wants revenge for her sister's death. This adds new layers to the old story. Books about Shahmaran continue to be published. In 1944, Raphael Emanuel wrote The Ring of Shahmaran. This is a fairy tale book from the mountains of Kurdistan. It tells of a boy who shares bread with animals and earns Shahmaran's respect. Artist David B. created a graphic novel called Hasib and the Queen of Serpents. It adapts the Arabian Nights version of the story. The art is beautiful and colorful. It brings the ancient story to life in a new way. In Mardin, Turkey, there was a public art exhibition in 2020. It was called Shahmaran Mardin. Artists created sculptures and art based on Shahmaran. The exhibition celebrated the importance of Shahmaran to the region. Because this story is so old, there are many versions. Different regions tell it differently. Here are some of the main differences. The young man's name changes. In Turkish versions, he is often called Kamezb or Semshab. In the Arabian Nights, he is Hasib. In Kurdish versions, he might have a different name. Scholars believe all these names come from the original Persian name, Jamasp. The location changes too. Some say the story happened near Tarsus. Some say it was in Mardin. Some say it was in Adana, near Snake Castle. Some versions are set in Persia or Iran. The story traveled and adapted to each new place. The ending varies slightly. In some versions, the young man drinks water that gives wisdom. In others, he eats the tail of Shahmaran. In others, he eats her head and the villains eat the poisonous parts. But in all versions, the greedy person dies and the young man gains wisdom. There is also an Uzbek version. In this version, the famous healer Ibn Sina meets Shahmaran. Ibn Sina is known in the West as Avicenna. He was a great Persian scholar and doctor. In this version, he gains magical powers from drinking the snake broth. There is an Ugar version too. In this version, the young man is called Scientia. He befriends Shahmaran and becomes a vizier after drinking the third serving of broth. Some Kurdish versions are a bit different. In one Kurdish version, a hunter encounters Shahmaran. A cruel ruler named Mirza Bey wants to capture her. The hunter is forced to reveal her location. Shahmaran tricks the villains. She says her intelligence is in her tail. The villains eat the head and die. The hunter eats the tail and gains wisdom. The story of Shahmaran has lasted for thousands of years. Why does it still matter today? There are many reasons. First, it teaches us about trust. Trust is precious. When someone trusts us, we should protect that trust. Breaking trust hurts people deeply. Jamasp had to live with the guilt of betraying Shahmaran forever. Second, it teaches us about nature. Shahmaran represents the natural world. Humans often destroy nature for their own benefit. The story warns us what happens when we do this. We lose something precious that can never come back. Third, it teaches us about wisdom. True wisdom is valuable. It can be passed from one person to another. Shahmaran's wisdom did not die with her. It lived on through Jamasp. Knowledge is something we can share and preserve. Fourth, it teaches us about greed. The vizier was greedy. He wanted power and knowledge for himself. His greed killed him. The story tells us that too much greed leads to destruction. Fifth, it shows us the power of love. Shahmaran loved Jamasp, even though he was human, even though he betrayed her, even at the moment of death. Her love was stronger than anger or revenge. This is a powerful message about forgiveness. Sixth, it connects communities. The Shahmaran story is shared by Turks, Kurds, Arabs, and Persians. It crosses borders and languages. It reminds us that cultures can share stories and values. It brings people together. Shahmaran is more than just a story. She is a symbol. She represents wisdom and healing. She represents nature and its secrets. She represents the bond between humans and the natural world. Her story has been told for thousands of years. It has traveled from Persia to Turkey to Arabia and beyond. Each culture has added its own details, but the heart of the story remains the same. A beautiful half-woman, half-snake queen lived underground. She fell in love with a human. She trusted him with her secret. He betrayed her when forced by cruel people. She forgave him and gave him her wisdom. She sacrificed herself. Her knowledge lived on. Today you can visit places connected to Shahmaran. You can see Yelankali, the snake castle. You can visit Shahmaran Hammam in Tarsus. You can see the beautiful artwork in Mardin. You can watch the Netflix series. You can read books about her. The story of Shahmaran teaches us many things. It teaches us about love and trust. It teaches us about betrayal and forgiveness. It teaches us about wisdom and greed. It teaches us about nature and humans. Most of all, it reminds us that stories have power. They connect us to the past. They help us understand the present. They guide us toward the future. As long as people keep telling this story, Shahmaran will never truly die. Her wisdom will live on forever. The legend says that the snakes do not know their queen is dead. They still wait for her in the underground garden. They believe she will return someday. And in a way, she does return every time someone tells her story. She returns every time someone hangs her picture on a wall. She returns every time a child hears the tale for the first time. Shahmaran, the queen of snakes, lives on. When Shahmaran died, what happened to her kingdom? The story tells us something sad. The snakes who lived with Shahmaran did not know she was dead. They waited for her to come back. They still wait today. According to legend, the snakes of Tarsus do not know their queen is gone. They live in the underground world. They wait for her return. They believe she will come back someday. This is a sad thought. They will wait forever. Some versions of the legend say something else. They say that one day the snakes will learn the truth. When they find out Shahmaran is dead, they will be very angry. They will rise up from underground. They will attack the people of Tarsus. This is why some people in Tarsus respect snakes. They do not want to anger the snake kingdom. They remember what humans did to Shahmaran. They hope the snakes will forgive them. After Shahmaran died, all snakes began to hate humans. Before, the snakes were peaceful. They lived apart from humans. They did not cause harm. But after the betrayal, they became enemies of humans. This is why snakes are dangerous today. They remember what humans did to their queen. Some people believe Shahmaran's spirit lived on. They say she passed her soul to her daughter before she died. This daughter became the new queen. The line continues today. Somewhere underground, a new Shahmaran rules the snakes. No human has ever found her. The story of Shahmaran teaches us many things. These lessons are still important today. Here are some things we can learn from this old story. Be careful who you trust. Jamasp was betrayed twice. First by his friends, who left him in the cave. Then he had to betray Shahmaran. trust is precious. We should give it carefully. We should protect the trust others give us. Greed leads to bad endings. The vizier was greedy. He wanted power and magic. He rushed to drink first. This greed killed him. We should be careful about wanting too much. Greed can blind us to danger. Love means putting others first. Shahmaran could have gotten revenge. She could have tricked Jamasp into drinking poison. But she loved him. She put his welfare first. Even at the end, she helped him. This is what true love looks like. Forgiveness is powerful. Jamasp betrayed Shahmaran. This led to her death. But she did not die with hate in her heart. She forgave him. She understood he had no choice. Forgiveness freed both of them from bitterness. Knowledge should be shared. Shahmaran had great wisdom. She did not keep it to herself. She taught Jamasp. Before she died, she made sure her knowledge would live on. Good teachers share what they know. Nature deserves respect. Shahmaran lived in harmony with the snakes. Her underground world was peaceful and beautiful. Humans came and destroyed it. We do this to nature all the time. The story reminds us to treat nature with care. Sometimes we face impossible choices. Jamasp had to choose between his mother and Shahmaran. Neither choice was good. Life sometimes puts us in these situations. We must do the best we can and live with the results. Evil people often destroy themselves. The vizier did not need anyone to punish him. His own greed killed him. Evil contains the seeds of its own destruction. We do not always need to seek revenge. Time takes care of bad people. Stories change as they travel. The Shahmaran story started in Persia. It spread to Turkey. It spread to Arabia. It spread to Kurdistan. Each place changed it a little. Here is how the story grew and changed. The oldest version probably came from Persia. The name Shahmaran is Persian. The hero's name Jamasp is also Persian. Persia is where the story was likely born. From there, it spread along trade routes. When the story reached Arabia, it became part of the Arabian Nights. The hero got a new name. Hasib is Arabic for someone who counts or calculates. The Serpent Queen got a new name too. Yamika sounds more Arabic than Shahmaran. The setting moved to different places. In Turkey, the story became connected to real places. People said Shahmaran lived in Tarses. They said she lived in Snake Castle. They said she died in Shahmaran Hamam. The story became part of Turkish geography. The Kurdish version added local details. It used Kurdish names and places. It connected the story to Kurdish culture. The Kurds made Shahmaran their own. Her image became important in Kurdish art. In Uzbekistan, famous healers became part of the story. Ibn Sina, the great doctor, met Shahmaran in the Uzbek version. This connected the legend to real history. It showed how the story adapted to each culture. Despite all these changes, the main story stayed the same. A young man finds an underground kingdom. He falls in love with a serpent queen. He must betray her. She forgives him. She dies but passes on her wisdom. Greedy people are punished. The story's heart never changed. Parents tell this story to children in Turkey and Kurdistan. Here is a simple version for young people. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful queen. She was special because she was half woman and half snake. Her name was Shahmaran. She lived in a magical garden under the ground. Thousands of friendly snakes lived with her. One day, a kind young man fell into her garden by accident. At first he was scared, but Shahmaran was nice to him. She gave him food. She told him stories. They became friends. Then they fell in love. The young man missed his mother. Shahmaran let him go home. She asked him to keep her secret. He promised he would. He never told anyone about her. But then a mean king got sick. Bad people found out about Shahmaran. They made the young man tell her secret. He did not want to, but they would hurt his mother if he did not tell. Shahmaran was caught, but even then, she was kind. She was not angry at the young man. She knew he had no choice. Before she died, she gave him a special gift. She gave him all her wisdom. He became very smart. He helped many people, and he never forgot Shahmaran. The story teaches us to be kind like Shahmaran. It teaches us to keep our promises. It teaches us that love is stronger than anger. In Turkey, especially in the south and east, many people have pictures of Shahmaran in their homes. Why do they do this? There are several reasons. First, people believe Shahmaran brings good luck. She was wise and kind. Having her picture in your home is like having a wise friend. People hope some of her good energy will protect their family. Second, Shahmaran is connected to healing. She knew about medicine and herbs. People who sell healing plants often use her image. Sick people pray to her for health. Her picture reminds people that healing is possible. Third, Shahmaran represents protection. She protected the snakes in her kingdom. People believe she can protect human homes too. Hanging her picture is like putting up a shield against bad things. Fourth, Shahmaran is beautiful. Her images are colorful and eye-catching. They make homes more beautiful. Art does not need a reason beyond being lovely to look at. Fifth, Shahmaran connects people to their culture. In Mardin and other places, making Shahmaran art is a tradition. Families pass down the skill. Having a Shahmaran image shows pride in local culture. Young women sometimes make Shahmaran pictures before getting married. They believe Shahmaran will bless their marriage. They hope for happiness and many children. The picture becomes part of their wedding traditions. The Shahmaran story has had a big impact on culture in Turkey and the Middle East. Here are some ways the story changed how people think and act. First, the story shaped how people view snakes. In many cultures, snakes are seen as evil. But in regions where the Shahmaran story is told, people have more respect for snakes. They remember that the Queen of Snakes was kind and wise. This changes how they treat real snakes. Second, the story influenced healing traditions. The connection between Shahmaran and medicine is strong. Herbal healers use her image. People believe she can help cure illness. This has shaped folk medicine in the region for centuries. Third, the story created a craft tradition. Making Shahmaran pictures is an art form passed down through generations. Young people learn from their elders. The craft keeps old skills alive. It provides income for artists in places like Mardin. Fourth, the story became part of identity. People in Tarsus and Mardin are proud of their connection to Shahmaran. They see her as part of what makes their home special. The legend helps create local identity and pride. Fifth, the story taught moral lessons. Parents use the story to teach children about trust, loyalty, and forgiveness. The story has shaped how generations understand right and wrong. It is a tool for moral education. Sixth, the story brought people together. Turks, Kurds, and Arabs all share this story. In a region sometimes divided by conflict, shared stories create bridges. Shahmaran belongs to everyone. She reminds different peoples of what they have in common. The stories give us details about Shahmaran's underground kingdom. Let us imagine what it looked like based on these descriptions. The kingdom was 7 layers below the surface. This is a symbolic number. 7 appears in many old stories. It represents completeness. The kingdom was as far from the human world as possible. Light came from somewhere, even though there was no sun. The garden was bright and beautiful. Perhaps magical light filled the space. Perhaps crystals in the walls reflected light. The stories do not explain, but the kingdom was not dark. Trees grew in the underground garden. These were not ordinary trees. They had golden leaves. They produced wonderful fruit. They were more beautiful than any trees on the surface. Flowers of every color filled the garden. Their scent was sweet. They bloomed all year round. There were no seasons underground. The flowers never wilted. They were always fresh and beautiful. Crystal clear pools and ponds dotted the garden. The water was pure. You could see all the way to the bottom. Fish might have swum in these pools. The water was always cool and refreshing. Thousands of snakes lived throughout the garden. They were white or cream-colored. They moved slowly and peacefully. They did not fight or bite. They lived in harmony with each other and with their queen. At the center was Shahmaran's throne. It was made of gold. It sat beside the most beautiful pond. From here, Shahmaran could see her entire kingdom. She watched over her subjects with love. Treasure filled the kingdom. Gold and jewels were everywhere. But these riches meant nothing to Shahmaran. She valued wisdom above gold. She valued peace above power. The treasure just made the kingdom more beautiful. This was a paradise. It was perfect. It was hidden from human greed, and it was destroyed when humans found it. The beautiful underground kingdom exists now only in our imagination and in the story. The story of Shahmaran is old. It has been told for thousands of years, yet it still speaks to us today. Why does this story last so long? Why do people still love it? Perhaps because it touches on things that never change. Love is timeless. Trust is timeless. Betrayal is timeless. Forgiveness is timeless. These are human experiences that every generation understands, perhaps because the characters feel real. Jamasp is not perfect. He makes mistakes. He faces impossible choices. We can understand him. Shahmaran is not just powerful. She is kind and forgiving. We can admire her, perhaps because the story is beautiful. The underground kingdom, the Serpent Queen, the magic and wisdom. These images capture our imagination. We want to visit that garden. We want to meet Shahmaran. Perhaps because the story teaches without preaching. It does not tell us what to think. It shows us what happens. We draw our own lessons. Different people find different meanings. The story is rich enough for everyone. Whatever the reason, the story will continue. New generations will hear it. New artists will paint Shahmaran. New writers will tell her tale. New viewers will watch shows about her. The Queen of Snakes will never be forgotten. And maybe that is the greatest magic of all. Shahmaran died in the story. Her body was destroyed, but her spirit lives on. Every time someone tells her story, she lives again. Every time someone looks at her picture, she is present. Death could not truly end her. In the end, the story of Shahmaran is a story about stories. It shows us that stories have power. They can make the dead live again. They can teach the young. They can connect the old. Stories are magic. And Shahmaran is one of the most magical stories of all. May you carry the wisdom of Shahmaran with you. May you remember her kindness. May you think of her forgiveness when you are wronged. May you respect nature as she did. And may you share this story with others, keeping the Queen of Snakes alive for generations to come.